Let's go over an intermittent fasting diet plan to lose weight and to improve your health. I actually just put one of my personal training clients on a 4-week intermittent fasting program. He did incredibly well. He lost 14 pounds in 1 month. He lowered his cholesterol dramatically. For example, he reduced his triglycerides from 157 down to 47 in just 4 weeks. And its HDLs, his high density lipoproteins, went up. So he dramatically improved his health following this intermittent fasting protocol for just 4 weeks. If you're new to my channel, my name is Mike Cola. I've been a fitness trainer and gym owner for over 30 years. If you want to improve your fitness, health, and nutrition along with me, hit that subscribe button. I put out videos like this every single week. Let's go over the exact intermittent diet plan that my client followed that got such incredible results. Now, the first thing I had him do was follow a 16-8 intermittent fasting protocol, meaning that he fasted for 16 hours every day, and then he took in all his calories within an 8-hour eating window. Now, since he wanted to lose the weight quickly, and he really wanted to jump right into this program, he decided he was going to follow that protocol every single day. So if you do 16-8 every single day, I would call that time-restricted eating because you're doing it every day. If you're going to do it, say, 2, 3, 4 times a week, you're going to be doing it intermittently. That would be called intermittent fasting. Okay? Now, the next thing I had him do was we decided he was going to skip breakfast. Now, you can actually skip dinner. It works just as well doing it both ways. But he decided, and I agree with him, he wanted to eat dinner, with his kids and his wife every single night. So for his lifestyle, skipping breakfast made more sense. Okay? Now, so when you woke up in the morning, you are allowed to take in like no-calorie liquids during your 16-hour fasting period. So he would have like 2 nice cups of black coffee in the morning, but no sugar. You can't put sugar, you can't put cream. You can't have green tea. I also recommend you drink a lot of water during your fasted period. He actually he followed my recommendation. He drank a lot of Pellegrino, which I love. Pellegrino is a mineral water, high in magnesium, has some minerals in there, really good for you. Okay. Now, another thing he did that really sped up the weight loss is that he only ate 2 meals a day. 2 meals a day. And the reason why you want to do that is that you don't want to spike your insulin, the storage hormone, more than twice a day. This is what happens when you're eating food, whatever food you don't burn up right now, the excess calories get stored away in your muscles and liver in the form of glycogen, or it gets converted into body fat. So when insulin is spiked from a meal, you're not burning any fat. You're actually storing calories. So for example, if you decide you're going to eat like multiple meals within your 8-hour eating window, I think it's going to slow down your weight loss. You just want 2 spikes of insulin. You store away the excess calories, and then you start burning fat. So 2 meals a day. And as you notice here, no snacks, okay? Now let's go over the exact food plan, like how many fats, how many proteins, how many carbohydrates he was eating, and the types of food that I recommend to lose weight and to improve your health. The first thing he did was he eliminated all processed foods. You have to eliminate processed foods. You got to get the sugar, the high fructose corn syrup, those oxidized oils, the bad oils out of your system. It creates inflammation. You're going to have a much better time losing weight eating a whole natural food diet. Okay, that's number 1. Okay, number 2, he decided to go best pescatarian, which I love. I'm a pescatarian. I kind of influence him, meaning that most of my animal protein that I eat comes in the form of actually fish. Like I eat sardines, salmon, things like that every single day, and I really recommend it. But you can, I think red meat is fine. If you can find like grass-fed, grass-finished type red meat, chicken, pork, things like that is okay. But if you can do it with a pescatarian diet because of the omega-3s, the healthy fats, I think it's probably the healthiest way to do it. Okay, the third thing he did is we discussed his macros. Like, for example, what % fat, proteins, and carbohydrates. I really like for most people to get most of their calories from healthy fats, 50-60%, 20% protein, about 20% carbohydrates. Okay, now when I recommend a higher fat type diet to people, I don't think you should chase fat, meaning that I don't think you should be putting oils like in your coffee. I don't think you should be like dousing your food with like mayonnaise and all these like, unhealthy type fats. I think if you're eating a whole natural diet For example, if you're eating avocados, if you're eating macadamia nuts, if you're eating salmon or like mackerel, like oily type fishes, if you're having whole pasture-raised eggs, when you calculate your macros, you're going to see that you're automatically 50-60% fat. So just by eating that ideal whole natural diet, most of your calories is going to come from fat. And then you want adequate amounts of protein. I like to recommend about 0.85 grams per pound of lean body weight. So let me keep it really simple. Let's say you're 120 pounds, you're a woman, and you're 20% body fat. You want to take in about 100 to 85 to 100 grams of protein for the day. Okay. Now the other thing I want you to do is keep your carbs really low. I think for most people, a low carbohydrate approach is the best way to lose weight, mostly because carbohydrates will spike insulin the most. Plus, most carbohydrates are just empty calories, like all the sugars, all the breads, all the pasta, all the rice. They are calories, but there aren't too much nutrition. They're not nutrient dense. They're void of nutrition. So I think just eliminating your carbs are one of the healthiest ways to lose weight and to actually improve your health. And I try to give them a maximum of 100 grams of carbohydrates for the entire day, which is roughly around 400 calories, about 4 calories per gram of carbohydrates. So really cut back on the carbs. Now, the main carbohydrate you want to avoid completely is fructose, no fructose. And this is why it gets a little scientific. Okay, when you eat carbohydrates, whatever carbohydrate you don't burn right then gets stored away, like we talked about earlier, from insulin. Insulin's the storage hormone. Now, the muscles store mostly like starchy type carbohydrates in the form of glycogen. You can store a lot of carbohydrates in your muscles, maybe 1,500, 2,000 calories, depending on how big you are. But fructose, the sugar in fruit, like half of table sugar is fructose, glucose. See, fructose is processed mostly in the liver, and the liver can't hold too much fructose, only maybe 50 to 100 grams, 200 to 400 calories. So for example, if you're eating a few fruits every day, and then you're like getting sugar from like processed type foods, your liver fills up awful quick. And when your liver is full with sugars, all the excess sugar you eat gets converted into triglycerides. So if you want to lower your triglycerides, if you want to improve your cholesterol, stop eating fructose, cut back on sugar, cut back on the carbohydrates. That's why my client went from a triglycerides of 153 down to, I think it was 47 in only 4 weeks, from totally eliminating fructose from his diet. Great thing, also great way to get into a mild state of ketosis and start burning body fat as fuel, which is another tremendous benefit of these low carb, intermittent fasting type diets. Okay, now the next thing he did is that even though he was only eating 100 grams of carbohydrates, he still was getting a lot of fiber, because the carbohydrates that he did choose were high fibrous type vegetables like broccoli, cauliflower, string beans, all the spinach, kale. So you can definitely eat a lot of high fiber avocado, 17 grams of fiber per avocado. You still can take in a lot of fiber while eating a low carb diet, and that's what I recommend. And then the final thing, what we briefly discussed before, is that I wanted him to drink half his body weight in ounces of water every single day. So for example, if you're 200 pounds, take in 100 ounces of water every single day. And once again, I really recommend the mineral water. Pellegrino is my favorite. Every liter of Pellegrino has about 50 milligrams of magnesium in it. And the adequate intake, when you're supposed to take in a magnesium every single day, is about 400. So you're getting a decent amount of magnesium with every liter of Pellegrino you drink every day. Now, I want to give everyone an example of the exact foods that my client, that myself, eats when we're following a protocol like this. Okay, first of all, he skipped breakfast, just had some black coffee in the morning, no cream, no sugar, and drank a lot of Pellegrino water. Then he broke his fast at around 12 in the afternoon. And this is what he ate. He had 2 hard-boiled eggs. Now, you can also adjust the amount of food that I'm recommending here by how big you are. For example, if you're a smaller woman, say weighing 120 pounds, you may only want to have one hard-boiled egg. If you're a big guy, 300 pounds, you may want to have 3 or 4 hard-boiled eggs. But just look at these foods and think about these are the type of foods that you should be eating to actually lose weight and to improve your health. And it's going to make your macros fall into line, eating these whole unprocessed foods like I'm recommending. Okay, so once again, 2 hard-boiled eggs. Then he had a can of sardines. I love sardines, staying with the pescatarian type diet. Sardines high in omega-3s. You're eating the bones, you're getting the calcium. Love sardines. He also had a whole avocado, high in potassium, loaded with fiber, a great amount of monounsaturated type fat, super healthy avocado. Also had like a few, maybe half a handful of macadamia nuts. Once again, healthy fats, a little bit of fiber. Macadamia nuts, one of my favorite nuts. Then he had half a cup of sauerkraut. See, I recommend you eat fermented food every single day. You know, fermented food, is so good for the bacteria. It's like a probiotic. It's so good for the bacteria in your stomach. I eat pickles, I eat sauerkraut, I eat fermented foods all the time. Great for you. Super low in calories too. And then I also love these green, cold-pressed green drinks. The reason why I like these cold-pressed green drinks is that you get a tremendous amount of potassium and a lot of, vitamins and minerals with a low amount of calories. Actually, Starbucks actually has a really good brand of cold-pressed green drinks. The brand name is called Evolutions. There's a few that I like. I like one is called Green Devotion. All vegetables, no juice. You have to look at the labels on these green drinks. There's a couple of tricks they do. One trick is they use fillers like apple juice or other like inexpensive, like sugary things that make it taste better. And also some of them even say they add purified water. A general rule is, if it's like 50 calories, which this particular Green Devotion is, it has to have at least 1,000 milligrams of potassium. If it has, like, if you look at a label and it says like 50 calories, like 200 milligrams of potassium, they're adding water, they're doing something to it. Evolutions also makes just cold-pressed celery juice, which I love too. That's only 35 calories, like 1,000 milligrams of potassium. So I love these cold-pressed pure vegetable green drinks. And another trick, another hack you could do, which is really effective, I think, is to put a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar in the green drink. This is what apple cider vinegar does. It has acetic acid, which actually slows down the release of blood sugar. So there are some carbohydrates in this meal, so by having that little bit of apple cider vinegar, it really helps release blood, like glucose into the bloodstream a little bit slower. Great trick for losing weight. I think it's definitely effective. So then he pretty much had no snacks, right? This is a no snack protocol. And then he had his last meal, his second meal of the day at 7 p.m. And this is what he had. He had a nice big piece a baked wild-caught salmon. A big guy maybe can have a whole pound. Once again, a petite woman, one maybe have a quarter pound or a half a pound. You can adjust that. I love these fibrous vegetables. Always try to pick different color vegetables. Like, don't do 3 greens. Don't do like spinach, broccoli, and green beans. Try to pick different colors, different vitamins, different minerals. You want a rainbow of vegetables. So he had cauliflower, he had some string beans, and then he had a mixed green salad where he threw all different colored vegetables in there. And it was really generous with extra virgin olive oil. You're high in polyphenols. Extra virgin olive oil is so good. Once again, you got to be a little careful where you buy your extra virgin olive oil. I find like California certified extra virgin is a relatively inexpensive, great way to go when it comes to choosing olive oil. And actually also balsamic vinegar. See, balsamic vinegar also is high in acetic acid, which will do the same thing as taking the apple cider vinegar. So by taking in vinegar with every meal, you're slowing down the release of blood sugar. I know we just scratched the surface when it comes to really understanding all the health and weight loss benefits of intermittent fasting. If you want to learn more about intermittent fasting, check out this video.